I'm Trey Guillotine, and today I'm talking about just a couple of the problems I have with Final Fantasy 15. Let's geek out. As much as I've enjoyed playing Final Fantasy 15, and I have enjoyed it quite a bit, I do have a couple of problems. The problem with DLCs and the game just kind of feeling unfinished. I'd like to go back and play the game again, do more of the storyline, do more of the side quests, but I don't want to burn myself out playing it before the rest of the DLCs come in, because I'd like to also be able to play those DLCs. So now I'm just kind of waiting for the rest of the DLCs, basically waiting for the rest of the game to come out before I can go back and play it again and really enjoy it and flesh it out, because I don't want to burn myself out on it. And this isn't a problem with specifically Final Fantasy 15. That's just kind of the state of gaming that we're in right now, and I don't really like that. I definitely don't approve of that. But my main problem with Final Fantasy 15 is really the delivery of the story. Going into Final Fantasy 15, it tells you a good chunk of the things you need to know about Noctis, about his three friends, Niflheim and Insomnia warring against each other, and some kind of destiny thing with a crystal. It gets kind of confusing as you go on, because the story of Final Fantasy 15 is very spread out across a few different presentations. There's, of course, the main game of Final Fantasy 15, which does a good job of telling you about Noctis and his four Kingsguard and friends, and the journey that he's going on. But the details of what's going on in the overall war, in the overall picture, some of the backstory of a lot of the main characters, you kind of miss out because those aren't in the game as much as they need to be. They're spread out over a couple of different things. There's the movie Final Fantasy 15 Kingslave, there's the anime Final Fantasy 15 Brotherhood, and then there's Final Fantasy 15 A King's Tale, which they tell you different aspects of the overall world. Kingslave tells you about the initial attack that happens on Insomnia, and the death of King Regis and the characters involved in that, and also some of the bigger elements that actually appear in the game that up until they kind of revealed themselves in the game, I had no idea why this was important. It also explains the intricate details of the war that's going on. Brotherhood tells you some of the backstory of the four main characters and some of the things that kind of happen and influence them going forward in their story. It explains them a little bit more. And then King's Tale, while it might not touch on the main story of Final Fantasy 15, it does give you a little more understanding and connection to some of the background characters like King Regis or Cid or his friends that he went on adventures on, because they do show up in the game, and you're kind of like, oh, okay, you're a friend of the kings. Oh no, you're the Kingsguard. You're who Ignis and Prompto and Gladio are to Noctis. That's who they are, and you kind of get a connection in that in the game. All of these things are told outside of the core gameplay of Final Fantasy 15, and I don't agree with that. I feel if you're going to tell a story, whether it be in a book or a game or a movie, you need to put in the information that's necessary so that the audience doesn't feel like they're lost, and then you lose that audience. Now, admittedly, a lot of people going into Final Fantasy 15 when it first came out probably saw the movie and probably watched the anime and played King's Tale before getting into the game. So on that's my fault, because I kind of wrote off Final Fantasy 15 as a game that was going to suck, because unfortunately, Final Fantasy hasn't been that great for a while. I just kind of wrote it off, and then when I started seeing that it was actually pretty good, I tried it out and I got really into it. Had I been paying attention, I probably would have seen the movie, I probably would have watched the anime, and I probably would have played the minigame. But I don't think that someone should have to reach out to these different things just to understand the core gameplay. You really need to put all of that information that's necessary to have a real understanding of what's going on. That needs to be in the core thing. That can't be something that I would have to go out of my way to get, because it's a story. You're trying to tell me a story, but you're not doing a good job of it because you're not explaining the aspects that are in these other things. It's also kind of a thin line that you dance across, because you could have the problem of not having enough information in the core story, or you could go into an information overload and have too much information into the core story, like, and I use this example a lot, like Tolkien and Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the Rings trilogy is beautifully written, and Tolkien was able to create an entire world and an entire realm for his series of books. But reading the trilogy, there's so much information that you just don't need. It's just frosting on it, which is nice and it's lovely and it's beautiful, but it drags the rest of the series down because you're trying to get to the next part of the story, not what the history of this tree that they passed is. I don't want to say that that hitting that medium of putting the information needed into the story while not putting too much information is an easy thing to do. It's not. But Final Fantasy 15 definitely suffers from that. The fact that they have these different pieces of information, but you have to go out of your way to access them. Luckily, it was easy for me to go out of my way, watch the movie, watch the anime, play the game. Once I'd done all that, it wasn't that much of a problem anymore, but I feel that you shouldn't have to do that when you're playing a game and they're trying to give you this core story and you're still kind of just confused by it. But on the other side of this, there's also this thing that a creator of a story, creates this vast, intricate world for you to understand that the reader needs to meet them halfway. So sometimes the reader or the audience does have to go out of their way and make that extra effort to really understand the story that's being presented. Despite all this, I really enjoyed Final Fantasy 15. I love the combat of it. I don't want to say it's the best Final Fantasy ever because I haven't played all of the Final Fantasies. I've only played 7 and up. But it's definitely the best Final Fantasy that's come out in a very long time, probably since 10, and I know I'll probably get flack for that, but I enjoy 10. But it's definitely better than 10. It's definitely the best Final Fantasy that's come out in a long time, and I'm glad it came out. I look forward to the DLCs coming out that I'm going to buy, because that's the state of gaming that we're in, to finish the game and play the whole game through. But I think it's a great game. I have a few issues with the way that the story is presented. Were you as confused as I was playing Final Fantasy 15 of the story? Let me know in the comments and follow me on all the internets. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share it around so other people can join in the conversation. And check out templeofgeek.com for content from me and from other creators. If you enjoyed this video, check out my Patreon to support more of my future content and subscribe to my channel so we can geek out some more. Thanks for watching and have fun. So Captain America, Thor, Hulk.